and I still had our mics muted. Oh my God, this is a mess. I'm very sorry.
Are we going for real this time?
We are going for real this time.
Are you positive?
And then I was like, oh wait, because I said, I clicked the wrong button. And then I clicked it, and I was like, oh no, okay, we're good. And then I started talking. And then I was like, no, that's not right. And then I clicked it, and then I started talking again. And I was like, oh shit, the mics are muted. Anyway, that was a really chaotic start to this.
Welcome back to the Wonders of Weird podcast. And if this episode is not truly recording, then you guys are not getting shit for this week.
It is 100% recording.
Because I'm not re-recording this one. It has the potential to be a long one.
It does.
So strap in.
But yes, 100% for certain.
Strap in, people, for shit you might not even care about. But we hope that you give it a shot anyway. I was too. I actually did work on it. This took me 3 days to write.
I also retitled this in my head.
Excuse me.
It's America's birthday right now.
What better than to celebrate with a burp that you would let after drinking a great, a nice cold beer after putting down some glizzies? Oh my God. How long has it been like that?
I don't know when it turned red. I know it was working the last episode.
Are you positive?
Yeah, because I noted that it was blue, and I was like, oh, I like that blue. And then between episodes, I noticed it had turned red. So I must have, whenever I got up, I must have tapped something.
I hope that you recorded that whole last episode.
Me too, because I'm not doing that again.
It was short.
It was short. Anyways,
I've been talking to myself this whole time, people.
They probably could hear me distantly from yours.
I don't know
because it picked up a little bit of audio from yours, but not a lot. So I'd have been very, very quiet, which is honestly probably a good thing. Okay. Anyways, welcome back to the Wonders of Weird.
It's 10:45 on a Saturday night.
There was no Love Island.
10:45 in the PM.
God, imagine if there was Love Island, we'd still be doing the last episode.
God.
Let's see. What was I saying? Oh, it's America's birthday, damn it. You're burping into the mic. You said something about America, and I said I was going to say, Bud Light or something. And then I was like, that light's red. My God. Anyways, I'm starting, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, in honor of our nation's 250th birthday, we're bringing you some of the spookiest, I'm bringing you some of the spookiest stories from the American Revolution. Many believe that the bloodiest battles fought for American independence also left behind some spooky specters. There is a lengthy list of paranormal activity associated with the conflict to obtain the nation's founding. Commander of the Continental Army and the very first president of the United States, George Washington, stands among one of the many spirits from the American Revolution that are spotted at a number of historic places. The Mount Vernon Ladies Association was newly formed, and in these days, the ladies would sleep in the mansion of Mount Vernon. I think at some point I had the year in there and deleted it and reformatted the beginning of my episode, and so I'm not sure what year they were founded. But so the ladies would sleep in the mansion of Mount Vernon. The following account was reported in the New York World newspaper in 1890. Of course, the most interesting of all of the bedrooms is the one belonging to the immortal George and in which he died. It is the original four-poster, okay, there should have been a comma there. In it is the original four-poster bed whereon Washington passed his last moments. This historic chamber is haunted. Of that, there would seem to be little doubt. Many people within recent years have slept in it, and they declare that they were awed by the viewless presence of the nation's first president. They deny earnestly that the nation is based on imagination. A few of these the notion, not nation, notion is based on imagination. Few of these temporary occupants have been able to get any sleep. I copied and pasted this from the source and skimmed it to make sure it was right, and it's still not right. Obviously, it is one thing to see a ghost and quite another thing to feel one, to be aware of the nearness of a strange and brooding specter. They all agree that Washington visits his chamber in the still watches of the night. Mrs. William Beale and a friend of hers spent a night at Mount Vernon. At their own request, they were permitted to occupy Washington's bedroom. In the middle of the night, they were awakened by the sputtering of their candle. They had lighted one surreptitiously and were burning it in the middle of a basin of water. Fancied they saw a spook. It went out with a noise, and they began to feel alarmed. Mrs. Beale said to her friend, "You are on the side of the bed where Washington died." The other replied, "No, I'm not. He died on your side." Finally, they decided that the question was doubtful, and there was no more sleep for them that night. They got up, dressed themselves, and sat around until morning, scared by every squeak of the windows, and at one moment were sure they heard Washington's sword clank distantly in a corner. Washington's spirit has been spotted numerous times over the years at Mount Vernon, but a particular tale surfaced during the late 19th century when interest in spiritualism was high, and it comes from Josiah Quincy II's 1806 visit to the residence, which had fallen into the hands of Washington's nephew, Bushrod Washington. Quincy's son narrated the incident and said that while staying the night in the Washington bedchamber, his father saw the spirit of George Washington. He postulated that the founding father's time in the afterlife may have been disturbed by what his father later saw when he was allowed to enter Washington's tomb. He said that the velvet cover of the coffin was hanging in tatters. It had been brought to this condition by the assaults of relic hunters. Washington was provided with little peace after his passing, with visitors having ongoing craving to obtain any of the remaining fragments of the leader's life. Now, there is ongoing preservation work that is going on at his former home, and it is possible that he is now somewhat at rest, but modern staff of the Mount Vernon Ladies Association say that he is still seen regularly on the grounds.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Pause for a moment because as Chris Collins would say, Nona's got to put on her glasses because all of a sudden my computer screen is looking rather blurry. My eyes are getting tired.
Do we need to turn the big light on to wake us up?
No, it's not that I'm tired. My eyeballs are just tired from looking at this screen.
Yeah, I get that.
You cleared your throat a moment ago and then looked at me, and I was like, wait, was she talking to me? Am I supposed to?
No.
Because I went on a side quest and was curious about the DAR, the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yeah.
And like in that, is it still active? Are they politically affiliated with either side? You know, what the haps are there?
Where they
and
fall on the
learned
spectrum.
that yes, they are still very active.
I feel like I did know that.
And that it is a non-profit organization that is not affiliated with any party.
Okay.
I do, however.
Most of them, to qualify for a 501c3, generally
have to be non-affiliated.
especially if they get like federal funding.
Yeah.
That stuff stinks.
I don't even smell it.
It stinks. That smells like something like plastic stinky.
Ooh, I do smell that.
That smells stale. I can't explain it.
Well, I mean, I've had this for a hot minute. And I will say, like, this plastic case.
Yeah.
This has all been in this plastic case since I got it, a year ago. I bought all this whenever Gemma got her glasses. So, and
I'm telling you, therefore, like when I lost my sense of smell and stuff with COVID, it's come back. Like I can smell. For somebody who has sinus problems, I can smell. I can smell a fart a mile away.
my mom cannot smell at all. Like
See,
she came over to pick up the kids the other day, and I was like, I met her at the front door, and I was like, I'm gonna give you a heads up. My house is destroyed. We live in it. My kids are out for summer break. They live in the living room currently because, they're they drag all their toys and stuff out to the living room.
It's the common area of the home.
And I was like, so the living room's a hot mess and the trash needs to be taken off and the dump was closed yesterday. So it stinks. Like the trash stinks. So just keep that in mind when you enter my home. And she was like, I can't smell it. And I was like, you're right. So we're good.
Yeah.
But
I'm telling
this
you.
is my backpack.
Oh, okay.
I don't use it at home. It stays in my backpack.
Oh.
I have one for my desk.
But yeah, I don't know what happened, but I'm like a bloodhound. My nose could be stuffy and I could still smell.
Nice.
Incredible superpower I obtained.
Okay. So, instead of spooky stories, my original venture here was to find some funny facts about our country. And, funny facts about when the country itself was. Yeah.
Which, honestly, I don't know why because I think I mentioned that, and I'm like, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea.
I couldn't find shit.
Because none of that shit was funny.
Yeah. I can't find shit.
Like, I mean, I was hoping for I don't know, like a random drunk man story or something.
Right.
That, like he stumbles into some cahoots or whatever.
Well, I Googled, for funny facts about the birth of America, and then found nothing. And so I was like, you know what? Funny facts about the U.S. Yeah. Nothing. I thought I'd find something there. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. Literally nothing. So, in lieu of, y'all are just getting facts, interesting facts about each and every one of our 50 states, okay? Some of these, pretty cool. So, in alphabetical order, okay, Alabama has long played a significant role in the history of America's space program. Mm-hmm. One of the state's greatest claims to fame is the home of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, located in Huntsville. During the 1990s, countless children dreamed of attending the famous U.S. Space and Rocket Center Space Camp, where aspiring astronauts could experience simulated space missions and learn about rocket science. For many young people, attending space camp was considered the adventure of a lifetime. Also, Marshall Space Flight Center is NASA's largest facility devoted to propulsion and rocket development. The center houses one of the world's most impressive collections of rockets, spacecraft, and space exploration memorabilia. Huntsville has earned the nickname Rocket City because of its enormous contributions to American space exploration, including work on the Saturn V rocket that helped carry astronauts to the moon during the Apollo missions. Even Houston, another city closely associated with NASA, cannot claim the same concentration of rocket history found in Huntsville. And if you know, the rest area where the rocket used to live, that's a popular spot for tourists to stop, especially on their way to places like Panama City.
See, I went to Huntsville, the Space Center.
I've never been.
With my dad and my Papa Jim when I was a kid.
First of all, where is it?
Huntsville.
Okay. I thought you said Huntsville. And I was like,
I might have.
Of people in this world.
I interchange, but for them, if I'm not really concentrating on it, I'll say Vull.
Right.
But yeah, in Huntsville, we went. I found pictures because I've been sorting through some of my granny's boxes of pictures that I just kind of threw in a box and then stuffed in a closet and forgot about. And I was like, I really need to go through those and organize those. But there were a bunch of pictures of that trip in there. And I remember being in maybe second or third grade and I wanted to do space camp, but I think I never like brought it up because I was like, I think I was scared of being away from home
Yeah.
for a period of time like that.
I just had a memory. Remember in elementary school how we'd have like those programs that we would do where we'd sing all these songs.
Mm-hmm.
There was one, and I think it was our 4th grade year. I had a solo, but it was like it was a song about summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
And it said something about space camp. But like my solo, I had to say, you said summer camp would be a lot of fun.
Mm.
But I had just gotten out of like a choir situation.
Yeah.
So in choir, you don't say camp.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say your A's like that. So my solo sounded like you said summer comp.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that was stupid. Anyway.
Not that being the thing that haunts you in your adult life.
I do think about that like probably once or twice a year.
Yeah. That's crazy. I had a speaking role in one of our plays once. It was 2nd grade. I was the DJ. Had the coolest little outfit. I was terrified.
There was one year we had to sing, was it Rocky Top? And I didn't know back then.
Mm-hmm.
And like my dad was not happy. We also sang Hey Good Looking.
Yeah. I remember one where we sang a Winona Judd song.
I don't remember that.
I can't remember which one it is. If I hear it, it reminds me of that, of learning that.
It wasn't No One Else on Earth. Was it No One Else on Earth?
That sounds like it might have been. But I want to say, God, it had to have been like kindergarten or 1st grade. But I remember practicing it. And then there was also one that was like...
I think I do remember that now because we did like some little No One Else Could Love Me Like You or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Damn. Anyway.
That's crazy. Moving on along, Alaska is a land of extremes, both geographically and historically. Before becoming a part of the United States, Alaska belonged to Russia. This blew my mind because when I find out timelines and things aren't what I thought they were for as long as they were. Yeah. Alaska belonged to Russia during the early 19th century. The United States purchased the territory from Russia in 1867, which was a decision that initially was criticized, but later proved to be one of the most valuable land acquisitions in American history. Despite becoming a U.S. territory, Alaska did not officially achieve statehood until 1959. Mm-hmm. Nearly a century later. My parents were alive.
Yeah.
So,
see, I knew, like, I'm more aware of how, like, some of our states aren't that old.
That's crazy to me.
Because I used to collect the state quarters.
Oh, yeah.
And they have the year it was incorporated.
I love finding out, like, cool little timeline facts like that. Off topic, kind of like off of the states. But, like, I found out. So I know previously we've talked about.
I love little facts and shit like this because I'm so, like, if I'm incredibly good at like certain specific types of trivia because I love like little facts like this, and I absorb them more easily because they're short.
Right. I know that previously we've talked about like Morgan Adams and Brooke doing their own podcast, and I was like, I really can't watch it. Brooke she's too much for me. Mm-hmm. Brooke has started doing her own thing. She's got her own channel. She's posted a couple episodes or a couple
things,
videos now. Yeah. She went to London recently and like vlogged the whole situation. And she went to the London Zoo. Mm-hmm. First of all, immaculate. That zoo is the most like the habitats that these animals are in are so close to what they would be in the wild. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. The enrichment that they give them. Yeah. Insane. There's a lot of areas like with monkeys, sloths, bats, what are those? Like, they're like little monkeys, ring-tailed lemurs.
Yeah. Zaboomafoo?
I was thinking more along the lines of King Julian from
That too.
what's that movie? Madagascar.
Oh. I think I've only seen it once.
And then there was something else, but they have these habitats that are like, they're free roaming.
Mm-hmm.
You walk amongst them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's one room, so like at ours, there's
That
a
would
room
be so cool.
where they've got like butterflies.
Yeah, I've never been in that. That's new since I've been.
Well, and then they've got, there's certain areas where you can walk like birds or butterflies or whatever. At the London Zoo, there's one where you can walk with spiders.
Oh,
there's spiders literally everywhere.
No, I'll skip that one.
But fun fact for the timeline situation, the London Zoo was opened. It was the first of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first one, the first aquarium as well, and what gave it the name.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Darwin studied there.
Mm-hmm.
The zoo itself opened 50 years after the United States became a thing.
Yeah.
So for 200 years, this zoo has been functioning and going.
It's insane to think about. That's like, I mean, it's insane to think about how much older everything over there is. And that's why.
And it's still going.
Like, I can't wait for us to like finish the States. I love the States, but I can't wait for us to finish the States and start choosing more international.
Right.
Because
there,
it's so much older.
We're about halfway.
And there's so much more, like, it feels like there's endless things here that are haunted at this point, but it's so much.
The lore is so much more fun.
Yes. And y'all know that's my favorite part. I love getting into, like, how did we get here? That's why I was excited about that book I talked about earlier, earlier in the episodes. I think it was the chit chat, like the How to Build a Haunted House. That's why I was because that's exactly what I love.
Right. Okay, back to Alaska. Today, Alaska is renowned for its vast wilderness, spectacular scenery, and abundance of national parks. Among its many natural landmarks is Denali, formerly known as Mount McKinley, which is the tallest mountain in the United States.
When was it renamed?
I don't know.
Okay.
Towering above the surrounding landscape, Denali attracts climbers and adventurers from around the world. Alaska is also home to one of the country. I'm probably not right on that. I don't know. I remember reading it, but it didn't. I don't know. I wrote this.
You're good.
It took some time. Okay. So I did my best to fact check. Anyway, Alaska is also home to one of the country's most unusual communities, the city of.
Okay, I see. It's within Denali National Park.
Got you. I looked up how to pronounce this word and did not put the pronunciation.
Oh no, you're right. You're technically right. So it's federally designated as Mount McKinley, but it is called Denali.
Okay. All right. So the city of Utqiagvuk, bear with me, guys, formerly Barrow, is the northernmost city in the United States with a population of roughly 5,000 residents. Because of its location above the Arctic Circle, the city experiences extraordinary seasonal daylight patterns. During winter, the sun disappears below the horizon for approximately 67 consecutive days. 67 consecutive days of darkness.
Yeah. As much as that sounds appealing to me,
not at all to me.
I think I would get depressed after a while. I would be
so depressed. This creates an extended polar night. Conversely, summer brings approximately 82 straight days of uninterrupted daylight.
See, that I could not do.
Often referred to as the midnight sun.
Yeah.
These dramatic conditions inspired the setting for the vampire film 30 Days of Night, although the movie shortened the actual period of darkness for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Adding to Alaska's uniqueness is the festive town appropriately named North Pole. Unlike geographic North Pole, the small Alaskan community celebrates Christmas every day of the year. Visitors can drive down Santa Claus Lane, visit Santa's workshop, meet elves, and enjoy Christmas-themed attractions regardless of the season. Whether visiting in December or June, the holiday spirit remains alive throughout the town. Honestly, I would love that.
I think I would hate that.
I feel like I would love it so much.
I would love it as a tourist for a few days.
Yeah.
I would not love it as living there. I also think, as much as I love Halloween and spooky stuff, I would probably also not want to live somewhere that...
Like a Halloween town?
Yes. Like, it sounds great for a visit, for a vacation, for a tourist spot. But for living...
Right.
I would need a break.
All right, so Arizona contains some of the nation's most fascinating landmarks, blending natural wonders with unusual pieces of history. One of Arizona's most famous attractions is Meteor Crater. Located near Winslow, formed approximately 50,000 years ago. The crater was created when a nickel-iron meteorite, roughly 160 feet in diameter, slammed into the Earth. Today it remains one of the world's best preserved impact craters. The site is privately owned by the Barringer family, descendants of Daniel M. Barringer, who was among the first scientists to correctly argue that the crater resulted from a meteorite impact rather than volcanic activity. Meteor Crater later became an important training site for Apollo astronauts who practiced traversing lunar-like terrain before traveling to the moon. Visitors today can explore a museum and observation platforms overlooking the massive crater. Arizona is also home to one of America's most unusual engineering imports, London Bridge. During the 1960s, the city of Lake Havasu sought a distinctive attraction to encourage tourism. When the historic London Bridge in England was offered for sale, entrepreneur Robert McCullough purchased it and had every stone carefully dismantled, numbered, shipped across the Atlantic Ocean, and reconstructed in Arizona. I did not know this.
Don't worry, I turned down my mic for all that crinkling I was doing over here.
Many people mistakenly believe McCullough thought he was buying London's famous Tower Bridge, complete with its iconic towers and drawbridge. Although that rumor has persisted for decades, McCullough insisted... McCullough consistently denied it. Whatever the truth may be, London Bridge now enjoys a much sunnier climate than it ever did in England. Arizona also features another nostalgic roadside attraction, the Wigwam Motel, originally built during the 1950s. Rather than the traditional hotel rooms, guests can stay inside individual teepee-shaped concrete structures inspired by Native American dwellings. The motel remains open today and continues to attract travelers seeking a taste of classic Americana. Because of its enduring popularity, reservations are often recommended well in advance.
You know, it's so crazy for me to learn as a child that the Native Americans, indigenous people, didn't actually live in what we think of as teepees.
Mm-hmm.
I was devastated. Devastated to learn that.
Okay. Arkansas offers visitors one of the few places on Earth where ordinary people can legally search for diamonds and keep whatever they discover. At Crater of Diamond State Park, visitors are encouraged to bring digging tools and search the fields for genuine gemstones.
Oh, yeah.
Between 2016 and 2020, park guests discovered 237 diamonds. The site also produced the largest diamond ever found in the United States, a remarkable 40.23 carat stone discovered in 1924. Even today, valuable discoveries continue to be made. In 2021, a visitor unearthed a 4.38 carat diamond valued at approximately $15,300, proving that remarkable finds are still possible for anyone willing to search.
Whoa, Nelly. That's crazy. You know what I would do? Sell it. Immediately. I don't need it.
Right.
Sell it. Somebody else wants this? Awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right. California has inspired dreams for centuries, and even its name carries a fascinating history. The word California originates from a 16th century Spanish novel written by Garcia Rodriguez del Montalvo. Mm-hmm. In this fictional story, California was described as a paradise resembling the Garden of Eden, an island overflowing with gold and inhabited by powerful, beautiful black women. As Spanish explorers ventured along North America's western coastline during the 16th century in search of riches, they adopted the name from Montalvo's novel to describe the fertile and beautiful lands they encountered. The legendary California dream, therefore, has literary roots stretching back more than 500 years. Modern California is equally famous for its unique roadside attractions. Among the most memorable are the enormous Cabazon dinosaurs, originally constructed during the 1970s to attract travelers to a nearby restaurant. These giant dinosaur sculptures have since become beloved landmarks in their own right. Visitors can even climb inside Denny the dinosaur, where a gift shop operates within the dinosaur's massive belly. The quirky attraction remains a nostalgic reminder of America's golden age of roadside tourism.
Oh, I love a good cheesy roadside attraction.
California also boasts one of the world's most recognizable engineering achievements, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Because of its enormous size and constant exposure to harsh coastal weather, the bridge requires continual maintenance. In fact, it has often been said that the Golden Gate Bridge is in a perpetual state of being painted. By the time the workers finish repainting one section, it is often time to begin again elsewhere, creating the impression that the bridge never truly stops receiving a fresh coat of its famous international orange paint.
Sick. I love that fact.
Right?
Because it makes sense. And it's job security. That's a lifetime job.
Right.
Because, like, I'm sure that there are guys, or even women probably, who have, like, gotten lucky and somehow gotten that job at, like, 19 or 20.
Right.
And were able to retire from that.
Right.
And you know it pays good because it's, like, a high-risk job.
So here's a fact I didn't know because I didn't encounter one while I was there. Mm-hmm. Colorado is home to one of America's most breathtaking suspension bridges.
Miss me with that.
The Royal Gorge Bridge, located near Canyon City. I don't know. It's got a weird little thing on it. Stretches approximately 955 feet above the Arkansas River, making it one of the highest suspension bridges in the world and among the highest in the United States. Although passenger vehicles are occasionally allowed to cross when the surrounding amusement park is closed, today the bridge primarily serves as a tourist destination. Visitors can enjoy scenic walks across the bridge, soar over the canyon zip lines, ride aerial gondolas, or experience the Sky Coaster while taking in spectacular views of the Royal Gorge below. Connecticut holds a special place in candy history as the home of the Pez Visitor Center and manufacturing facility in Orange, Connecticut. Pez candy was originally invented in Austria during the 1920s as an alternative to smoking. Over time, the iconic candy dispensers evolved into collectible items, especially during the 1990s when collecting rare Pez dispensers became a worldwide hobby. Among the rarest dispensers ever produced is the 1982 World's Fair Astronaut B prototype, a model that was never officially released to the public. While many rare Pez dispensers sell for around $1,000, this prototype achieved legendary status when it sold for an astonishing $32,205 on eBay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Pez dispenser collectors are very serious. I've known one in my life.
And this next one is short. Last one for now.
Okay.
Delaware proudly holds the distinction of being the first state to ratify the United States Constitution, earning it the nickname the First State. It is also the nation's second smallest state by area. One of Delaware's more surprising statistics involves agriculture. Chickens outnumber people by an astounding 200 to 1.
Oh, wow.
Making poultry farming one of the state's most significant industries. Although often overlooked by travelers, Delaware's historical importance far outweighs its relatively small size.
I liked Delaware. I wish I had seen more of it. I watched a video the other day. Carpetbagger went to Delaware because, and I'm a little angry that I didn't go explore. I 100% could have. I had plenty of time. I just didn't.
These glasses didn't help.
Right around from where we stayed, the Airbnbs we had was like their Funland amusement, like pier amusement area. Had a haunted mansion.
Oh.
Dark ride, and I didn't know. I don't know that it would have been open when we were there because it was like the start of the season, the weekend like that we were leaving.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go. It was quite literally right around because I was like, I saw in the title of his video, Rehoboth Beach. I would go back. I told Danny, I was like, I want to go back. I was like, I said, if we go visit like his friend again, I was like, they're only like 3 or so hours if we pay $60 in tolls. And, I was like, so we could like do like a day in Rehoboth Beach and I would get to it. There's like a whole museum there, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, damn, I wish I'd have known all that. I would have gone. Or like left even one whole day earlier and gotten a room or something there and gotten to just like do stuff before everybody else arrived.
Right.
But it's okay. That'll just be like another destination I want to go back to and revisit.
I need my computer to be sitting about right there.
Use my stand behind you. Take my laptop off of it. Use that stand. It's perfect for that.
That's where I can see out of my glasses the best because they're not bifocals, but they're bifocals. Because I'm an old bitch.
Blind.
There's so much shit. No, that's not on it. Okay.
Let's see. It's just my laptop, I think.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, I got my glasses and stuff. Just move them off. They'll be fine. Put them in that basket down below. It's just my notes from doing stuff. But yeah, just put it on that little basket down the bottom. You'll be alright.
I'm just gonna put shit randomly and then I'll put it all back to where I found it.
Okay. Whatever. Alright. I'm gonna carry on. There were more Patriots' lives lost aboard British prison ships that were anchored along the East River of New York than in battle. Between 8,000 and 12,000 died while they were prisoners of war versus the approximate 6,800 who died in battle. These lost souls not only include American soldiers and sailors, but also citizens who opposed the British crown. These prison ships were overcrowded in the dark lower decks. Prisoners were roasting in sizzling temperatures. They were forced to drink brackish water that was supplied to them through the sides of the ship. They were starved and battled vermin, lice, impending madness, dehydration, and illness. It is estimated that every day at least 6 lives were lost on a single prison ship. 18-year-old imprisoned sailor Alexander Coffin Jr. was aboard the HMS Jersey and wrote of his experience. I soon found that every spark of humanity has fled the breasts of the British officers who had charge of that floating receptacle of human misery, and that nothing but abuse and insult was to be expected. The remains of those who lost their lives on these prison ships were simply tossed overboard, and they would eventually begin to wash up along Brooklyn's shore, while others were buried in shallow graves on beaches that were nearby the anchored ships. But with sand inevitably shifting, these too were exposed to the elements and the eyes of their horrified comrades. For many years following the abandonment of these vessels, bones would continue to wash up along the shore, quote, as thick as pumpkins in an autumn cornfield. Residents would gather remains to prepare for proper burial, and eventually they were buried within a crypt in Brooklyn's Fort Greene Park. To honor their memory, the prison ship Martyrs Monument was dedicated in 1908 by President-elect William Howard Taft. There have been efforts to attempt to preserve the memory of those lost aboard ship, but some souls seem to remain without rest. In October of 1902, laborers at the Brooklyn Navy Yard stumbled on the remains of the sunken hull of the HMS Jersey and accidentally pierced it while extending one of the docks. Some reported that when it was punctured, a foul and ominous stench misted up from the mud-encased hull. It was just after this incident that residents nearby began to report strange activity, including the sounds of faint whispers near the water. The reports continue to occur today, with many believing it is the silent screams of the tortured and ruinous souls lost among the wind and waves of time. And that very much reminded me of the movie The Fog when I was writing that part out. I was like, that sounds like the premise of The Fog. All right. That was it.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to make life easier.
I said good day.
I said good day. 1, 2, 3.
I'm telling you, my voice goes so quickly.
I'm trying to make my life easier over here. Okay. Moving right on along, we're dipping into Florida, which is famous for combining natural beauty, world-famous attractions, and a reputation for producing some of the internet's most unbelievable news headlines. One of its most magical attractions is Weeki Wachee Springs, where live performers dressed as mermaids swim gracefully underwater in crystal clear natural springs. These famous real-life mermaids have entertained visitors for generations. Florida is also home to Walt Disney World, one of the most visited vacation destinations anywhere on Earth, drawing millions of visitors annually. Beyond its attractions, Florida has become famous online through the viral phenomenon known simply as Florida Man. We love a good Florida Man story.
Yeah.
A popular internet game invites people to search their birthday alongside the phrase Florida Man to discover the bizarre news stories that allegedly occurred on that date. Examples include headlines such as Florida Man accused of stealing golf balls before attacking another golfer, or another man who believed someone wearing an Alabama cap was the Antichrist. The endless stream of unusual headlines has become part of Florida's modern pop culture identity, and I meant to do it with mine and yours, but I forgot to. Georgia is home to The Varsity, which is located in downtown Atlanta, which proudly claims the title of the largest drive-in restaurant in the world. It was founded in 1928, and it's a family-owned landmark that has become an Atlanta institution. The restaurant can accommodate approximately 800 diners indoors, while simultaneously serving another 600 automobiles at its drive-in. Over the decades, numerous American presidents have stopped by the Varsity, including Jimmy Carter, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama during their respective presidencies. Its enormous size, iconic status, and decades of continuous operation have made the Varsity one of the most recognizable restaurants in the United States and a beloved symbol of classic American roadside dining. Honestly, I want to see this.
Yeah.
Hawaii. I'm going to go ahead and let you know. I'm just going to apologize now. Okay?
We're not being intentionally insensitive.
We've been through this, okay? We're just a couple of white bitches, okay? Hawaii stands apart from every other state in the United States, both geographically and culturally. It is the nation's only state composed entirely of islands, making it the country's sole archipelago state. This chain of volcanic islands, located in the central Pacific Ocean, consists of numerous islands, each possessing its own unique landscapes, ecosystems, traditions, and identity. The volcanic origins of the islands have produced dramatic mountain ranges, black sand beaches, lush rainforests, waterfalls, and some of the world's most recognizable tropical scenery. Beyond its natural beauty, Hawaii occupies a unique and often controversial place in American history. During the late 19th century, the independent Hawaiian kingdom was overthrown and ultimately annexed by the United States under circumstances that remain the subject of political, legal, and historical debate. Unlike many other territorial acquisitions, there was never a formal treaty of annexation between the Hawaiian kingdom and the United States. As a result, questions surrounding Hawaiian sovereignty and self-determination continue to be discussed today. Modern debates surrounding Native Hawaiian rights remain active. One notable example involves the construction of astronomical observatories.
My bad.
Atop.
I thought I had my sound all the way down already.
It involves the construction of astronomical Try again. One notable example involves the construction of astronomical observatories atop Mauna Kea, a mountain considered sacred by many native Hawaiians. The conflict has highlighted the tension between scientific advancement and the preservation of indigenous cultural traditions. Tourism, while vital to Hawaii's economy, has also generated significant challenges. Native Hawaiian leaders, including Kenela Ing, have publicly encouraged visitors to reconsider travel during times when local resources have become strained. Concerns have been raised that water, housing, and infrastructure are increasingly diverted toward accommodating millions of visitors while local residents face shortages and rising living costs. In 1993, the United States government formally acknowledged its role in the overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom through what became known as the Apology Resolution. So, in our lifetime, it was finally acknowledged, officially expressing regret for the actions that led to the loss of Hawaiian sovereignty. While symbolic, the resolution did not resolve ongoing debates regarding land governance and indigenous rights. Hawaii remains one of America's most breathtaking destinations, combining remarkable volcanic landscapes with one of the richest indigenous cultures in the nation. Its history serves as both celebration of natural beauty and a reminder of the complex relationship between the United States and the Native Hawaiian people. Idaho has become a national leader in the use of renewable geothermal energy. One of its most remarkable distinctions is that the Idaho State Capitol building is the only state capitol in the United States heated entirely by naturally occurring geothermal water. Rather than relying on conventional heating systems, the Capitol utilizes hot groundwater drawn from deep beneath the Earth's surface. This geothermal resource is part of an extensive hydrothermal system found throughout much of the western United States, where underground reservoirs of naturally heated water and steam provide a sustainable energy source. Geothermal energy is widely regarded as one of the cleanest forms of renewable energy because it produces minimal greenhouse gas emissions while requiring relatively little land compared to other power sources. Idaho has embraced this natural advantage, using geothermal resources not only for government buildings, but also for homes, businesses, greenhouses, and public facilities. The capital's heating system demonstrates how naturally occurring earth heat can successfully power large public buildings while reducing dependence on fossil fuels. Idaho's investment in geothermal technology reflects the state's long-standing commitment to utilizing its abundant natural resources in environmentally responsible ways. What is that face for?
Why isn't everybody doing that?
Right.
I feel cheated.
Right. Moving on. Illinois.
I'm having a lot of feelings right now about that. One, it's pissing me off.
Illinois is home to one of the most remarkable engineering accomplishments in American history, the reversal of the Chicago River. I was excited to learn about this because I didn't know. During the 19th century, Chicago experienced explosive population growth. Unfortunately, the city's sewage system and industrial waste were discharged directly into the Chicago River, which naturally flowed into Lake Michigan, the primary source of the city's drinking water. As pollution increased, outbreaks of diseases such as cholera and typhoid fever became increasingly common. Rather than abandoning the lake as a water source, engineers devised one of the boldest infrastructure projects ever attempted. Through an extensive network of canals and locks, they literally reversed the direction of the Chicago River. Oh. Instead of flowing east into Lake Michigan, the river now flows west toward the Des Plaines River, eventually reaching the Mississippi River system. Completed in the early 20th century, this extraordinary feat of civil engineering dramatically improved Chicago's drinking water while permanently altering one of North America's major waterways. To this day, the Chicago River continues to flow in the opposite direction from its natural course. While the project protected Chicago's water supply, it often also shifted pollution downstream, sending wastewater toward communities connected to the Mississippi River. The story has become both an example of remarkable engineering ingenuity and a reminder of how environmental solutions can often carry consequences for neighboring regions. The reversal of the Chicago River remains one of the largest and most ambitious river engineering projects ever completed anywhere in the world. Indiana residents proudly refer to themselves as Hoosiers. Yeah. Yet the true origin of the word remains one of America's most enduring linguistic mysteries.
Love a mystery.
Right? Despite generations of research, historians and linguists have never reached a consensus regarding where the term Hoosier originated. Numerous theories have emerged over the years. Some suggest it evolved from frontier greetings, while others propose it came from early settlers, laborers, or regional dialects. None of these explanations have ever been definitively proven, though. The dictionary itself offers little assistance, defining Hoosier simply as a native or inhabitant of Indiana. Mm-hmm. Regardless of its uncertain origin, the nickname has become deeply woven into Indiana's identity. It appears on university names, businesses, government agencies, sporting events, and countless local organizations. For many residents, being called a Hoosier represents state pride, resilience, and Midwestern values. Outside of Indiana, however, the term has occasionally been used in different contexts, sometimes even as an insult in parts of the Midwest, demonstrating how regional language can evolve differently across neighboring communities. The mystery surrounding the word only adds to its appeal, making Hoosier one of the few widely embraced state nicknames whose true name or true meaning remains unknown. Iowa.
I find that one to be very interesting.
That is.
Because it's like, it would be a very interesting, like, study of linguistics from a societal standpoint.
Yeah.
And like, because I mean, it's like even in the South, we have phrases, bless your heart.
Yeah.
And most of them can be traced back to something.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Iowa hosts one of America's most unusual annual traditions. Ready? Mm-hmm. The National Hobo Convention in the small town of Britt.
Oh yeah, brother.
The event began in 1900 when 3 traveling hobos from Chicago were welcomed into the community for a reunion. What started as a simple gathering gradually evolved into an annual celebration that now attracts more than 20,000 visitors each year.
Oh my gosh.
Today, the convention includes parades, concerts, carnival rides, contests, storytelling, and numerous events celebrating the history and culture of America's itinerant. Yep. Workers. I don't know why that was so hard. I'm getting tongue-tied at this point. The convention preserves the traditions of the hobo community, distinct from tramps or beggars who historically traveled the country seeking seasonal work while riding freight trains. Brett is also home to the National Hobo Museum, which preserves artifacts, photographs, oral histories, and exhibits documenting this unique aspect of American labor history. Adjacent to the museum lies the Hobo Cemetery, where several well-known hobos have been laid to rest. Members of the hobo community often refer to death as having caught the westbound, a phrase that reflects the symbolism of rail travel throughout hobo culture. The National Hobo Convention remains one of Iowa's most distinctive cultural events and serves as an important reminder of an often overlooked chapter of American history. This is the last one for now.
But sure, autism didn't always exist.
Right. Kansas. Kansas unexpectedly played a major role in one of the world's most valuable scientific discoveries, the identification of commercially useful helium. In the early 20th...
So they're the ones running out.
Huh?
There's a helium shortage. That's why it's so expensive.
In the early 20th century, residents of the town of Dexter celebrated the drilling of what they believed was a highly productive natural gas well. To commemorate the occasion, can you imagine like drilling and then like this gas seeping up and then like now everybody's talking like chipmunks?
And all of them died of cancer.
To commemorate the occasion, townspeople planned an impressive spectacle by igniting a massive bale of hay using the escaping gas. To everyone's surprise, the hay simply went out instead of exploding. While many spectators were disappointed by the failed celebration, state geologist Erasmus Hayworth recognized that something unusual had occurred. Samples of the gas were taken to the University of Kansas for analysis, where scientists determined that it contained unusually high concentrations of helium. This discovery proved enormously significant. At the time, helium became essential for lighter-than-air airships, such as Zeppelins, because, unlike hydrogen, it does not ignite easily. Today, helium has become indispensable for modern technologies, including MRI machines, semiconductor manufacturing, fiber optic production.
I didn't know it was used for MRI machines.
Rocket launches, scientific research, welding, airbags.
No wonder an MRI is so expensive.
And countless medical and industrial applications, not to mention the balloons found at birthday celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
Helium is also a non-renewable resource. Once released into the Earth's atmosphere, it eventually escapes into space, making conservation increasingly important. Even today, only a handful of countries, including the U.S., Algeria, and Qatar, produce significant quantities of helium. Kansas's accidental discovery transformed what appeared to be a failed gas well into one of the most important scientific finds in modern industrial history.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And when we're out, we're out.
I didn't know that once it's released, it just goes up into space. I figured it would dissipate.
You remember when we were younger, I would say even early adulthood, you could go to Walmart and get one of those helium tanks for $20.
We've done it.
They're $75 now.
Yeah, they're not cheap. I recently, for Maddie's birthday, we were going to try and get, because I was trying to fill up, she wanted to get a couple balloons for a TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going to go buy them at Five Below.
Mm-hmm.
And I called ahead of time to see how much it was. And it was $15 for one balloon.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not spending for,
Yeah.
what you're wanting for this. Or, this for what you're wanting. And so I was like, let's just go to Walmart. We can just get a helium tank and do it our damn selves.
Yeah.
Like, even if I provided the balloon, that it was still going to cost me like $15 freaking dollars. So I was like, no. Then we go to Walmart.
The flower shop next door to us charges quite a bit to fill balloons too, because it's so expensive for her to get a tank. It's crazy. That was your last one?
Yep. For now.
Okay. There have been many ghosts reported at Fort Mifflin over the years. However, the most prominent is the Screaming Lady. She has never been seen, but it appears that she is living out eternity within the old officers' quarters. Fort Mifflin was originally constructed by the British in 1772 on Mud Island in the Delaware River. It is located 15 miles south of Philadelphia and is across the river from Fort Mercer at Red Bank, New Jersey. When war broke out, Patriot troops garrisoned the fort and renamed it after Philadelphia native and Quaker General Thomas Mifflin. Armed with artillery, both forts, with gunboats, were engineered to prevent British ships from passing up the river from Delaware Bay to Philadelphia. After Philadelphia fell to the British on September 26, 1977, the forts became a nuisance to British shipping and were preventing the British fleet from supplying the city with needed supplies. I just imagine them just in there just tee-heeing as they're like hurling cannons and stuff at any British ship that dares to enter their little territory. And they're just such menaces. I love it. Capture became a priority for the British, and what befell the colonial defenders became the greatest bombardment to take place on American soil. Tens of thousands of rounds of cannon were fired upon the fort over the course of several weeks, and some have estimated that it was 1,000 rounds every 20 minutes. They got so fed, they rage baited them into doing that. The colonists held fast, but defeat was on the horizon. On November 16th, 1777, the quarters of the garrison had perished, and the rest was abandoned as a smoking ruin. The fort was rebuilt 20 years later and served as a garrison for the War of 1812 and served as a prison. It is believed that the sustained and extreme violence of the bombardment and the use of the fort as a prison for decades has made the fort ripe with paranormal activities. Legend says that the tortured soul of the Screaming Lady is that of Elizabeth Pratt. She was an 18th century neighbor of the region whose daughter had a relationship with an officer. Elizabeth renounced and threw her daughter out of her home, but her daughter soon succumbed to dysentery.
Not dysentery.
Not the dysentery. Elizabeth is said, what is this, the Oregon Trail?
Right.
Elizabeth is said to have been full of guilt at consigning her daughter to this fate, and the story goes that she took her own life. Within the dank confines and drafty quarters of the officers' quarters, Elizabeth will release a sudden, blood-curdling scream, which is what has brought about this legend. Elizabeth's scream is not the only spectral sound heard at the fort, as near the blacksmith shop, there have been reports of the rhythmic clash of hammer against anvil, but is silenced when people come by to peer into the empty, echoing chambers.
All right, I'm done making my life easier now. All right, now, Kentucky is home to one of the rarest natural optical phenomena on Earth, the moonbow at Cumberland Falls. A moonbow resembles a rainbow, but is created by moonlight rather than sunlight. Because moonlight is much dimmer, moonbows are extremely rare and can only be observed under very specific conditions involving a nearly full moon, clear skies, and sufficient water spray. Cumberland Falls consistently provides those conditions, making it the only location in the Western Hemisphere where naturally occurring moonbows can be observed on a regular basis. And I did not know any of this, and I would like to go see it.
Yeah.
Visitors often travel to Cumberland Falls State Resort Park during nights surrounding the full moon to witness this extraordinary event. Several hiking trails provide access to viewing areas, including the 11-mile Moonbow Trail and the shorter Cumberland Falls Trail, which leads to observation platforms overlooking the waterfall. I'll be taking the Cumberland Falls Trail. Not the 11-mile, especially if I'm having to do it at nighttime.
Yeah.
The phenomenon has attracted photographers, astronomers, and nature enthusiasts from around the world. Depending on atmospheric conditions, the moonbow may appear white to the naked eye, while cameras reveal its full spectrum of color. Combined with the beauty of Cumberland Falls itself, often called the Niagara of the South, the moonbow has become one of Kentucky's most extraordinary natural attractions. Louisiana. I was excited to learn this one, okay? It's a state renowned for its rich cultural heritage, French and Spanish influences, vibrant music, distinctive cuisine, and fascinating traditions. First and foremost, we've talked about this. I love all things New Orleans.
Yeah.
And that culture extends throughout Louisiana, which just makes this state phenomenal.
Emily lives in Louisiana, and like, she's the one who I messaged, and I was like, how do I say the street name?
That's who sent you that?
Yeah, she's the one that painted the little cat. But yeah, I messaged her one day, and I was like, hey, I have a question. And she sent me the 2 eyeball emojis. And I said, we ended up with a thing of seafood stock from the retreat, and we don't sell that here. I don't know what to do with it. And she goes, ew. She doesn't cook with it. But she sent me a link with some recipes. She was like, you're making an etouffee? And I was like, sounds fancy. So I'm going to use it. But it was so funny. She goes, ew.
So among its lesser-known historical curiosities and one of the most unusual cemeteries in the United States, St. Joseph's Cemetery in Rain, I'm assuming is how it's pronounced, commonly known as the Wrong Way Cemetery. In Christian tradition, cemeteries are typically designed so that graves are aligned on an east to west axis and the deceased facing east. I never thought about that.
I think I did know something like this.
This orientation,
right.
This orientation reflects the long-held belief that at the second coming of Christ, believers will face rising the direction from which Jesus is expected to return. For centuries, this practice has been nearly universal across Christian burial grounds. St. Joseph's Cemetery is the notable exception. Unlike virtually every other Christian cemetery in the country, the graves in this cemetery face the opposite direction. Historians have never been able to determine with certainty why the cemetery was laid out incorrectly. One theory suggests the mistake occurred when the cemetery was relocated during the late 19th century. Others speculate it may have been the result of surveying errors, lack of proper equipment, or simple human oversight. Whatever the reason, the unusual orientation has earned the cemetery its memorable nickname. The mystery surrounding its construction has become part of Louisiana folklore, inspiring curiosity among historians, visitors, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Some even joke that the cemetery seems perfectly suited as the setting for a horror novel or ghost story. While Louisiana is famous for Mardi Gras, jazz, Creole culture, and bayous, this small cemetery serves as a reminder that some of the state's most intriguing stories are hidden in its quietest corners. Mm-hmm. Maine occupies a unique position on the map of the United States and holds a geographical distinction that surprises many people. Despite the common assumption that Florida is America's closest state to Africa because it extends far into the Atlantic, the reality is quite different. Maine is actually the closest U.S. state to Africa. This surprising fact results from the curvature of the Earth and the orientation of North American coastline. Maine extends further east than many people realize, while Florida projects primarily southward rather than eastward. The distance between the coast of Morocco and Maine is just over 3,000 miles, roughly equivalent to the distance between Portland, Maine, and Los Angeles, California.
Oh, wow.
So it's really
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now that puts it into perspective for you.
Because, yes, that is a long distance. But when it's in terms of another country, that's not that far.
Right. This geographical quirk illustrates how two-dimensional maps can create misconceptions about global distances and directions. Take that, flat earthers. Looking at a globe rather than a flat map.
Somebody listening is very offended you said that right now.
I'm sorry. Looking at a globe rather than a flat map makes Maine's eastern location much easier to appreciate. Beyond this fascinating fact, Maine is known for its rugged Atlantic coastline, picturesque lighthouses, dense forests, lobster fisheries, and rocky shoreline. Its position at the northeastern tip of the United States has long made it an important center for maritime commerce, shipbuilding, and fishing. Which I would love to go to Maine one day.
Yeah.
I might even try lobster. Just for shits and giggles.
Emily said the lobster roll she had in Delaware was really good.
TJ he loves a good lobster roll, apparently. This is a fact I did not know about him.
I'm so pissed at myself. I didn't go get anything to eat outside of that house. I was like, we bought all these groceries. I'm going to use them.
Right.
And it was worth it. But God, I wish I'd have gotten me some seafood. I'm so mad. It's my own fault.
Maryland's largest city, Baltimore, combines literary history with professional sports in one of the nation's most distinctive team names. The Baltimore Ravens are named after Edgar Allan Poe's famous poem, The Raven. Poe spent, this might turn me into a Baltimore Ravens fan, just because I don't give a shit about pro football. Fun fact, Chelsea chose her favorite pro football team based off of the color of their uniforms on a Madden video game. And because I was told, gun to my head, I have to choose a team. Not really gun to my head, but
Yeah.
I have to choose one.
Yeah.
So I chose the Seattle Seahawks because their uniforms are pretty awesome. And then they went on to win they went to the Super Bowl the next 2 years.
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, Poe spent significant years living and working in Baltimore, where he wrote some of his best known works and where he is buried today. His influence on the city remains profound, with museums, monuments, festivals, and literary landmarks commemorating his life and contributions to American literature.
Even though he married his minor cousin.
Well, I'm also going to say, like, in my brain, like in high school,
yeah,
I thought that Edgar Allan Poe was like from England or some shit.
Oh, yeah, me too. I was astonished to find out he was an American.
Yeah. When Baltimore was awarded a new National Football League franchise in 1996, residents voted to name the team the Ravens in honor of Poe's most famous poem. The Raven itself has become an endearing symbol of mystery, intelligence, and Gothic literature, making it one of the most unique mascots in professional sports. Unlike many sports franchises named after fierce animals or historical warriors, Baltimore chose a literary icon deeply connected to the city's cultural identity. References to Poe can be found throughout the team's branding, stadium traditions, and fan culture. Visitors to Baltimore can explore Poe's gravesite, his former home, museums dedicated to his life, and numerous historic locations associated with one of America's greatest writers. And if I'm not mistaken, his former home is no longer in the place that it originally was.
Yeah, I think it's been moved.
Maryland's embrace of Poe demonstrates how literature can become an enduring part of a city's identity, connecting sports, history, and culture in an unforgettable way.
Mm-hmm. That's really cute. I like that.
Brace yourself for this one.
I might also because I root for the Chiefs, obviously, and then because I don't know anything about football, and that's all I know is Chiefs. And now the Baltimore Ravens, I guess.
This one got me.
Oh, and the Eagles, because, go Birds.
This one got me. Okay. Massachusetts is home to one of the longest and certainly one of the most challenging geographic names in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The lake, commonly known as Lake Webster, located in the town of Webster, officially bears the name Lake, and I'm not even going to say it. We're going to spell it. You ready?
Okay.
You want to write it down so you can figure it out, or you just want to go with it?
Hold on, let me open a tab. Lake.
CHALLAKE. RGO, GGA, GOG, GMA, NCH, AUG, GAG, OGG, CHA, UBU, NAG, UNG, AMA, UGG.
I think that wasn't correct.
No, this is 100% copied and pasted.
This says these are the results for instead of what I typed in, unless I heard wrong at some point.
I copied and pasted that name.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I Googled it and it was much shorter. Okay, so this says, so my source was wrong on this one.
Mm-hmm.
What Google is now telling me, CHAUBUNA GUNGAMAUG.
Yeah, that's what pops up. But it looks like it could also be longer.
Oh, yeah. I think it's like one of those things. Yeah, because it's you keep scrolling and it's showing you. It's a, yeah.
Lake Chargagagat Manchagagat Chalbanagungamog.
You're welcome.
This extraordinary long name is derived from the Algonquin language and is generally interpreted to mean lake divided by islands. Although the shorter name Lake Webster is used in everyday conversation, I wonder why.
I would hope so.
The full traditional name remains one of the most recognizable examples of Native American place names preserved in modern America. Did you ever turn your volume back up on your mic?
I did.
Okay. Its length has made the lake a favorite attraction for visitors, photographers, and trivia enthusiasts. Signs displaying the full name are popular tourist attractions, and attempting to pronounce it has become something of a local challenge. Massachusetts preservation of the lake's indigenous name reflects the state's deep historical connections to Native American cultures that inhabited New England long before European settlement. The nice way of putting it. Beyond its unusual name, the lake itself is a popular destination for boating, fishing, swimming, and other recreational activities, attracting visitors throughout the year. The lake stands as both a natural landmark and a linguistic curiosity, celebrating the enduring legacy of the Native American languages in the United States. Michigan is uniquely defined by water. Surrounded by 4 of the 5 Great Lakes, Superior, Michigan, Huron, and Erie, it possesses more freshwater shoreline than any other state in the nation. With approximately 3,000 miles of freshwater coastline, Michigan offers an extraordinary diversity of beaches, dunes, cliffs, harbors, islands, and scenic overlooks. Its extensive shoreline often gives visitors the impression that they are standing beside an ocean rather than inland lakes. And I will say, TJ has flown over I think Lake Michigan, and he's like, it's huge. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely massive.
I've been to, I believe it was Lake Erie. We just went, we were doing a little Wisconsin area tour.
Oh yeah,
and driving around and seeing things, and that was we went to whichever lake it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Lake Erie.
This remarkable geography has earned Michigan the nickname the Third Coast. The state's shoreline supports a wide variety of recreational activities, including boating, sailing, fishing, kayaking, surfing, scuba diving, hiking, and beachcombing. During every season, residents and visitors enjoy access to countless state parks, lighthouses, marinas, and I almost said marineras, and coastal communities. The Great Lakes also play a vital role in Michigan's economy, supporting commercial shipping, manufacturing, tourism, and freshwater ecosystems unlike anywhere else on Earth. Because no location in Michigan is very far from a lake, Water has profoundly shaped the state's culture, industry, climate, and recreation. Minnesota proudly calls itself the land of 10,000 lakes, but the nickname significantly understates reality. The state actually contains, brace yourself, 11,841 lakes,
Nice.
measuring 10 acres or larger, making it one of the most water-rich states in the nation. Among these countless bodies of water is Lake Superior, the largest freshwater lake in the world by surface area. Lake Superior forms part of Minnesota's northeastern border and serves as one of the Great Lakes that have shaped the region's economy, transportation, and natural environment for centuries. At the opposite end of the spectrum lies tiny Echo Lake in Cass County, representing one of Minnesota's smallest named lakes. The state's immense number of lakes supports thriving ecosystems, recreational fishing, boating, canoeing, kayaking, swimming, and tourism. Minnesota's extensive network of lakes has also contributed to its rich tradition of cabins, resorts, and outdoor recreation. The abundance of fresh water influences nearly every aspect of life in Minnesota, from wildlife habitats to climate patterns and local culture. I'm going to start talking like this.
Please don't.
Whether exploring the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness or enjoying one of the thousands of neighborhood lakes, water remains central to the state's identity. And this is the last one for the moment.
Okay.
Mississippi. One of America's most beloved childhood toys owes its existence to an event that occurred during a presidential hunting trip in Mississippi.
What is it, a red eye thing?
Mm-mm.
Not a BB gun.
No,
What is it called?
Red Ryder BB.
Yeah.
In 1902, President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt traveled to Sharkey County, Mississippi on a bear hunting expedition accompanied by Mississippi Governor Andrew H. Longino? I don't know. Despite an extensive search, Roosevelt was unable to locate a bear. Hoping to ensure the president's success, legendary hunter and former enslaved man Holt Collier captured a black bear, tied it to a willow tree, and presented Roosevelt with an easy target. But Roosevelt refused, believing that shooting a restrained animal violated the principles of fair hunting and sportsmanship. The president declined to fire. Good on him. News of the incident quickly spread across the country. Political cartoonist Clifford Berryman immortalized the story by depicting Roosevelt with a small black bear in a widely circulated newspaper illustration. Inspired by the cartoon, Brooklyn shopkeepers Morris and Rose Mitchum created a stuffed toy bear and asked Roosevelt for permission to use his name. Thus, the teddy bear was born. Today, the teddy bear remains as one of the world's most recognizable toys, comforting generations of children and becoming an enduring symbol of kindness, compassion, and childhood.
God, Teddy Roosevelt was really just that bitch, wasn't he?
Yeah. He really was.
I kind of love him.
He looked like a big teddy bear, though.
Yeah, that too. He just looked like a fun guy.
He did, and he looked like he gave really good hugs.
Yeah. And
Do you ever look at
created the National Park Service, created Social Security for senior citizens.
Look at you spitting.
Started created Medicare for senior citizens.
Look at you spitting all these facts.
Listen, I know a little bit of shit about a lot of shit, but not a lot of shit about it.
Not a lot of shit about a lot of shit.
Yeah. I know a little. Okay, my turn.
Excuse me. Yep.
Some of the most intensely haunted locations are the homes and inns that served as Revolutionary War hospitals, as these saw the most intense pain, suffering, and death. Originally built by James Minnow in 1716, the home that is now called the Colonial Inn has been passed around by several family members throughout the decades. At some point during the 1770s, a third building was added next to the original. Prior to and throughout the Revolutionary War, the inn was used as storage to stockpile supplies such as weapons, powder, and shot. It also served as a hospital for the sick and wounded soldiers from the time the war began all the way through to its conclusion. 18th century medical practice was extremely limited when compared to today's standards, and there was no such thing as anesthesia. Scant methods for dealing with infection, borrowed surgical equipment from the local blacksmith, and amputation being the normal procedure for large caliber wounds that shattered bone and tore muscle. Only 400 certified doctors among the estimated 1,400 practicing physicians. It is hard to imagine the kind of hell that Revolutionary soldiers faced when it came to medical care. Most of these practicing physicians at medical stations were primarily aides and apprentices who were learning on the job. Presently located at 48 Monument Square, the Colonial Inn in Concord, Massachusetts, was one of these such makeshift hospitals. What is now room 24 during the war was the operating room. Down the hall is room 27, and this housed the morgue, which was rarely empty. Sickness killed more soldiers than those in battle, with smallpox and typhus being the primary culprits. Of those that were wounded, a quarter of those would succumb to their injuries, with more suffering from lifelong debilitating trauma. Today, visitors have reported strange occurrences in room 24 and room 27, as well as around in other places of the inn. The lights flicker off and on, TVs will turn off and on by themselves, disembodied voices have been heard throughout the inn with seemingly no source, and orbs are also often reported. One of the most frequently reported spirits is that of Rosemary, and she is believed to have been a nurse at the inn during the war, and she can be seen misting down the hallways and hovering in several of the rooms. A couple who were staying in room 24 reported to the manager that the wife had woken up to see a grayish figure, nearly a silhouette, that was moving from the bed to the fireplace, and then the figure disappeared. It is not certain as to whether this was simply a doctor seeking solace from the warmth of the fireplace after yet another surgery, or a patient who was trying to escape the surgeon's knife, or was it Rosemary resting near the fireplace after a long day? We may never truly know.
Missouri is home to several landmarks and historical firsts that have shaped both American culture and history. Towering above the skyline of St. Louis is the Gateway Arch, the tallest monument in the United States, standing 630 feet high. The stainless steel arch commemorates America's westward expansion and serves as the symbolic gateway to the west. Visitors can ride a unique tram system to the observation deck for panoramic views of the Mississippi River in downtown St. Louis. Missouri also has surprising connection to one of the most famous horror films ever produced. The Exorcist was inspired by an actual exorcism reportedly performed in the St. Louis area in 1949. Although many details remain disputed, the case became the basis for William Peter Blatty's best-selling novel and the acclaimed 1973 film, forever linking Missouri to one of the most influential works in horror history. St. Louis also made history by becoming the first American city to host the Olympic Games, welcoming athletes from around the world during the 1904 Summer Olympics. Beyond these internationally recognized landmarks, Missouri offers numerous cultural attractions that are free to the public, including the St. Louis Art Museum, St. Louis Science Center, the Anheuser-Busch Brewery Tour, the Gateway Arch Museum. Also, if I'm not mistaken, their zoo is also free admission. These institutions reflect the state's commitment to making history, science, and art accessible to everyone. Missouri's blend of architecture, sports, history, entertainment, and cultural institutions makes it one of America's most historically significant states. Moving right on along to Montana, which is famous for its dramatic mountains, expansive wilderness, and proximity to Glacier National Park. But it is also home to one of the country's most mysterious roadside attractions, the Montana Vortex and House of Mystery. Located west of Glacier National Park, the attraction is built around what many describe as a gravitational or magnetic anomaly. According to its operators, unusual forces within the area appear to challenge conventional understandings of physics and perception. Visitors frequently report experiencing optical illusions that make people appear to grow taller or shorter simply by changing positions within the specifically designed viewing areas. Balls seem to roll uphill, standing positions become strangely unbalanced, and perspective appears distorted in ways that leave many guests puzzled. A deliberately slanted house amplifies these visual effects, creating an environment where gravity itself seems unreliable. Whether these experiences result from genuine geological anomalies or are carefully designed optical illusions remains a subject of debate. One of the attraction's more unusual claims is that visitors can observe their own aura while standing in designated locations. Regardless of whether one believes in supernatural explanations, the Montana Vortex has become a popular tourist destination, combining mystery, entertainment, and natural beauty into a unique, memorable experience. Nebraska. Perhaps no place better represents the traditional image of America than Nebraska, a state defined by vast prairies, rolling farmland, hardworking communities, and a deep agricultural heritage. The Cornhusker State has long been associated with the ideals of American heartland, where generations of families have worked the land and helped feed the nation. Agriculture is at the center of Nebraska's identity. The state consistently ranks among the nation's leading producers of corn, beef, soybeans, and other agricultural products. Miles of fertile farmland stretch across the landscape, making Nebraska one of the most productive farming regions in the U.S. Its economy, traditions, and cultures have all been shaped by this foundation. Nebraska's location along the historic westward migration routes also gives it an important place in American history, as thousands of pioneers crossed the state along the Oregon, Mormon, California, and Pony Express trails while traveling toward new opportunities in the American West. Today, museums, monuments, and preserved historic sites commemorate these journeys and the role Nebraska played in the nation's expansion. The state is also known for its welcoming small towns, friendly communities, and slower pace of life. Visitors can experience everything from scenic prairies and sandhills to historic landmarks, museums, and outdoor recreation activities. Nebraska's combination of natural beauty and Midwestern hospitality has made it a favorite destination for travelers seeking an authentic slice of Americana. Nevada, it's Nevada, yeah, is truly a state of extremes, offering dramatic contrasts unlike almost anywhere else in the United States. And I will say, what little bit I've seen, dramatic is the word. Dramatic is the word. While many immediately think of the bright lights and nonstop entertainment of Las Vegas, Nevada's identity extends far beyond its famous casinos. It has become one of the world's premier entertainment destinations, attracting millions of visitors annually with its luxury resorts, world-class restaurants, elaborate shows, nightlife, and gaming. The city's famous strip, The city's famous strip has transformed the Nevada desert into one of the most recognizable skylines in the world. Yet beyond those neon lights lies an entirely different Nevada. Much of the state consists of vast deserts, mountain ranges, ghost towns, and some of the most isolated landscapes in America. Outdoor enthusiasts enjoy hiking, camping, rock climbing, off-roading, and exploring the state's expansive public lands. It is also forever connected with the mystery surrounding Area 51, the highly classified military installation that has fueled decades of conspiracy theories involving unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrial life. Although the facility officially serves as military purposes, speculation surrounding its activities has become part of American pop culture. The state is also one of the nation's leading producers of gold, with the mines contributing a significant percentage of all gold produced in the U.S. Mining has been central to Nevada's economy since the silver boom of the 19th century, and precious metal production continues to play a major economic role today. New Hampshire is home to one of the most remarkable weather records ever documented. At the summit of Mount Washington, the state recorded the fastest wind speed ever officially observed on Earth for many decades, an astonishing 231 miles per hour, which was measured on April 12th of 1934. Mount Washington's location and geography create some of the world's most severe weather conditions. The mountain frequently experiences hurricane-force winds, freezing temperature, dense fog, and rapidly changing weather, making it one of the most challenging environments for meteorologists and hikers alike. The state's rugged white mountains attract outdoor enthusiasts year-round. Visitors come to hike, ski, climb, camp, and enjoy scenic drives through some of New England's most beautiful landscapes. During autumn, New Hampshire's spectacular fall foliage draws travelers from around the world. It also prides itself on its independent spirit, reflected in its famous state motto, "Live free or die." This philosophy has shaped the state's political culture and traditions for generations. New Jersey proudly holds the title of the diner capital of the world, which I could see that.
I'm all for that. I love a diner.
With approximately 525 diners, the state, and it's a small.
Yeah.
The state boasts one of the highest concentrations of classic American diners anywhere. Diners have become cultural landmarks, serving everything from pancakes and omelets to burger sandwiches and elaborate desserts around the clock. Many operate 24 hours a day, making them gathering places for families, truck drivers, night shift workers, students, and travelers alike. Among the state's most famous establishments are the historic Tops Diner in East Newark and the iconic TikTok Diner, spelled the way it's supposed to be spelled, in Clifton, known for its bright neon signage and round-the-clock service. These restaurants have become destinations in their own right and represent uniquely New Jersey tradition. Beyond this diner culture, New Jersey offers an impressive diversity of landscapes and attractions. The state features beautiful Atlantic beaches, bustling cities, charming suburbs, farmland, forests, and portions of the Appalachian Mountains. It's also home to important historical sites dating back to the American Revolution. New Jersey's location between New York City and Philadelphia have made it one of the nation's most densely populated and economically important states. Despite its relatively small size, it has played a major role in American industry, transportation, commerce, and culture. The state's combination of rich history, cultural, coastal attractions, thriving communities, and beloved diners has earned it a unique place in American life. And if I'm not mistaken, it was either here or New York. TJ went to a beach, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right before we booked our trip.
Mm-hmm.
Went to a beach, and he's hanging out at this beach. Goes to find out, like, a couple weeks later, just here recently, that whatever beach it was that he was at, there was a serial killer that was burying his victims at this beach. And they've not found all of them that he told them that he's buried there.
Damn.
I'm like, bitch,
that's creepy.
You were standing on somebody.
Yeah. Hopefully not, but.
Right. And then I have 2 more for this section.
Okay.
New Mexico. No discussion of New Mexico would be complete without mentioning its long-standing connection with the extraterrestrials and UFO lore. The state has become synonymous with alien mysteries, thanks largely to decades of reported sightings and one of the most famous alleged UFO incidents in history. Approximately 1,000 official reports of unidentified flying objects have been documented in New Mexico over the years, contributing to the state's reputation as a hotspot for unexplained aerial phenomena. The town of Roswell, in particular, has become internationally famous for its alleged 1947 UFO crash, inspiring museums, festivals, gift shops, and countless documentaries. And I think we did touch on Roswell a while back.
I believe so, yeah.
Whether visitors are firm believers or complete skeptics, New Mexico embraces its extraterrestrial reputation with enthusiasm. Alien-themed attractions have become an important part of the state's tourism industry and popular culture. Beyond UFOs, New Mexico offers some of America's most spectacular scenery: towering mountains, dramatic deserts, colorful rock formations, ancient Native American sites, and centuries-old adobe architecture create landscapes unlike anywhere else in the country. The cultural heritage reflects a blend of Native American, Hispanic, Mexican, and Anglo influences, which shows in its architecture, cuisine, festivals, arts, and traditions. And then the last one for now is New York. I love finding things out. Like, there's a lot to find out about New York.
Yeah.
For a small, and I say it's small, but it's not,
Yeah.
For as small as it is, there's a lot.
Yeah.
New York is one of the most influential and recognizable states in the U.S., known for the extraordinary history and economic power, as well as cultural diversity and global impact that it holds. While many people immediately associate the state with the towering skyline of New York City, New York encompasses far more than its famous metropolis. It is a state of mountains, lakes, forests, farmland, historic landmarks, and thriving communities that have shaped American history for centuries. New York serves as one of the world's foremost centers of finance, commerce, fashion, entertainment, media, and international diplomacy. I struggle on that word every time. That's one of those words that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Home to Wall Street, Broadway, Times Square, and the headquarters of the United Nations, the city attracts millions of visitors every year and remains one of the most diverse cities on earth. Immigrants from virtually every country have helped create vibrant cultural landscape reflected in the city's neighborhoods, restaurants, languages, and traditions. One of New York's most recognizable symbols is the Statue of Liberty, which was welcomed generations of immigrants arriving by sea. Standing in New York Harbor, Lady Liberty has become an enduring symbol of freedom, hope, and opportunity for people around the world. Beyond the city, the state offers remarkable natural beauty. The Adirondack Mountains provide one of the largest protected park systems in the U.S., while the Catskill Mountains have long attracted artists, hikers, and vacationers. The Finger Lakes region is renowned for its scenic beauty, vineyards, and waterfalls, as well as recreational opportunities. Among the greatest natural attractions is Niagara Falls, one of the most famous waterfalls in the world. Millions of visitors travel each year to witness this immense power of falls, enjoy boat tours, observation decks, and surrounding parks, making it one of North America's premier tourist destinations. New York has also played a pivotal role during the American Revolution, which is what we're here for.
Yeah.
In the nation's early development. Historic battlefields, colonial settlements, and museums preserve the state's important contributions to the American independence. The Erie Canal, completed in 1825, revolutionized transportation and commerce by connecting the Atlantic Ocean with the Great Lakes, dramatically accelerating economic growth throughout the northeastern United States. Agriculture also remains an important part of New York's economy. The state ranks among the nation's leading producers of apple, dairy products, grapes, maple syrup, and numerous specialty crops. So that's it for New York.
Okay. Cemeteries are basically like the granddaddy of paranormal activity. The place where ghoulish arms burst from the soil and stiff-legged zombies strut their stuff in B-rated movies. What better burial ground to dive into spooky encounters than a cemetery where the residents have been thoroughly pissed off? Copp's Hill in Boston is the second oldest cemetery and sits right in a Revolutionary hotbed and was established in 1659, named after an alliteration, Cop the Cobbler. Ruffians chased and hemmed in the British on the Boston Peninsula, and afterward these passionate patriots compounded British misery by cutting off foraging parties that were desperate for food and supplies. After a nasty encounter on Noodle and Hogg's Island, which has now been gobbled up by a landfill and a noisy airport, the British livestock were killed or driven off, and British commanding General Thomas Gage and most of his army were bent out of shape, enraged, if you will. The general decided to construct a battery at Boston's northern end. on a hill that overlooked rebel positions across the river, and one that just happened to be laced with many tombstones. After the battery was constructed, offending nocturnal residents lingering 6 feet under, matters only got worse. British gunners and troops stationed along the 24-pounders saw among the cluster of tombstones the means needed to take out their pent-up frustrations, and it was also a means to stave off boredom. With little to no regard for the souls in eternal slumber, the British leveled their muskets and blasted away, practicing their marksmanship by turning the headstones into Swiss cheese. This was likely followed by a generous draught of rum and ale, as well as loud jeering and hurled oaths at the pesky patriots. One tombstone in particular that received a brunt of the punishment was that of Captain Daniel Malcolm. Captain Malcolm was a smuggler and British agitator who once rallied over 400 men and boys to prevent the British from taking his contraband wine. Illness overtook him in 1769, and he commented just before his death that he wished to be buried 10 feet deep so that he would be safe from British bullets.
Oh, shit.
Today, Copp's Hill Cemetery is filled with paranormal activity, no doubt left over from the restless souls who are still angry about how they were rudely treated by the British. Many Bostonians refuse to venture anywhere near the cemetery. Reports of strange lights and muffled cries, as well as painful groans and even shadow figures luring among the aging tombstones that still display chipped stone from the British barrage of bullets. Their legacy scarred and scattered to the wind, these troubled souls seem to be driven by the indignation that is still peppered on some of their gravestones. And I just need you to know that I'm cramping so bad right now.
Oh, no. We're almost done with this one.
Yeah.
We're almost done.
I took a naproxen.
Okay. North Carolina offers an exceptional combination of natural beauty, rich history, thriving industries, and I might want to put this mic closer to my face, sorry, and vibrant culture. Stretching from the Atlantic coastline to the Appalachian Mountains, the state provides a remarkable geographic diversity that attracts millions of visitors each year. The state's beautiful Outer Banks feature miles of sandy beaches. It's not just a TV show. Historic lighthouses and picturesque coastal communities. These barrier islands also hold tremendous historical significance as the location of the Wright brothers' first successful powered flight at Kitty Hawk in 1903, forever changing the course of transportation in human history. Western North Carolina is home to the majestic Blue Ridge Mountains and portions of Great Smoky Mountains, offering outstanding opportunities for hiking, camping, fishing, scenic drives, and wildlife viewing. During autumn, vibrant fall foliage transforms the mountains into one of the nation's most spectacular seasonal destinations, and I can attest to that fall foliage because it is gorgeous. North Carolina has become a national leader in higher education and research. The state's famous research triangle, anchored by major universities and research institutions, has fostered innovation in biotechnology, medicine, engineering, and technology. This concentration of academic excellence has helped attract businesses and skilled professionals from around the world. Agriculture continues to play a major role in the state's economy. It ranks among the nation's leading producer of sweet potatoes, tobacco, poultry, and numerous other agricultural commodities. The state's rich musical heritage includes significant contributions to my favorite bluegrass, gospel, country, folk, and beach music. Numerous festivals celebrate these traditions while showcasing North Carolina's unique cultural identity. North Dakota, bringing it back, is a state defined by its expansive prairies, productive farmland, energy resources, and resilient communities. Although one of the nation's least populated states, which is why we couldn't find shit. It plays a significant role in American agriculture and energy production. The state's fertile plains produce abundant crops, including wheat, barley, sunflowers, soybeans, corn, and canola. Agriculture has long formed the backbone of North Dakota's economy, which with generations of farming families contributing to the state's prosperity and helping feed both the nation and international markets. It has also become a major producer of oil due to the development between the Bakken formation. Advances in drilling technology transformed the state's economy during the early 21st century, leading to rapid population growth in several communities and significant economic expansion. Outdoor recreation is another defining characteristic. Teddy Roosevelt National Park preserves spectacular badlands, scenic overlooks, wildlife habitats, and landscapes that inspired President Teddy Roosevelt's lifelong commitment to conservation. Visitors can commonly observe bison, wild horses, which is a dream to me to see, prairie dogs, which I have seen and are the cutest.
They are very cute.
Elk, deer, and numerous bird species throughout the park. The state's Native American heritage remains an important part of its identity. Several tribal nations continue to preserve their languages, traditions, ceremonies, and cultural practices while contributing to North Dakota's rich historical legacy. Ohio has played an extraordinary role in American history, earning recognition as the birthplace of numerous presidents, astronauts, inventors, and influential leaders. Located in the Midwest, the Buckeye State combines industrial strength, agricultural productivity, educational excellence, and cultural significance. One of Ohio's most remarkable distinctions is that it has produced more U.S. presidents than almost any other state, contributing several commanders-in-chief throughout American history. The state is also closely associated with aviation pioneers Orville and Wilbur Wright, whose groundbreaking work again forever transformed transportation. Ohio proudly claims another remarkable achievement as the birthplace of Neil Armstrong, who was, in case you didn't already know, the first human to walk on the moon. The state's strong tradition of engineering, manufacturing, and scientific innovation has helped produce generations of pioneers in aviation and aerospace. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland celebrates the artists, musicians, and performers who have shaped modern music. Visitors from around the world come to explore exhibits honoring legendary performance and the evolution of rock music. Ohio's economy has historically been driven by manufacturing, particularly steel, automobiles, machinery, and industrial equipment. While manufacturing remains important, the state's economy has diversified to include healthcare, finance, education, logistics, and advanced technology. But agriculture also remains vital, as previously mentioned, with Ohio producing soybeans, corn, dairy, poultry, and numerous specialty crops. You can see scenic rural landscapes contrast with vibrant metropolitan areas, including Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo, and Dayton. The state's extensive park system, Lake Erie shoreline, museums, sports traditions, and historic landmarks make Ohio a destination that combines natural beauty with rich cultural experiences. Oklahoma occupies a unique place in American history, representing both hardships and opportunities associated with westward expansion, Native American heritage, and American frontier. The state's history is deeply connected to numerous Native American tribes, many of whom were forcibly relocated to present-day Oklahoma during the 19th century along the tragic Trail of Tears. And from what I have been told, my ancestors are part of that. Today, Oklahoma is home to one of the largest Native American populations in the United States, with tribal governments continuing to preserve their cultures, languages, and traditions. It's also became famous during the land runs when thousands of settlers raced across designated territories to claim land for farming and settlement. These dramatic events became iconic moments in the nation's westward expansion. The state's economy has long been supported by agriculture, energy production, and aviation, as well as manufacturing. Oklahoma ranks among the nation's leading producers of oil and natural gas, while its fertile farmland supports cattle ranching, wheat production, and numerous other agricultural industries. The state's location within Tornado Alley means severe weather is a regular part of life. It has become a global leader in meteorological research and severe storm forecasting, with scientists continually advancing methods for predicting dangerous weather. Visitors can explore museums dedicated to Western heritage, Native American history, cowboy culture, and Route 66, which crosses the state and preserves much of America's classic roadside history. Honestly, Route 66 sounds like your dream, because how many cool little roadside attractions are there along it, you know?
Yeah. I want to do it one day, but I want to do it right.
Right.
And, like, not start out here and then go.
Right.
I think it would be best enjoyed flying out and starting. And
then coming back.
Yeah. The road trip would be the trip back.
Right. Oregon is renowned for its breathtaking natural beauty, environmental stewardship, and remarkable geographic diversity. From rugged Pacific coastlines to volcanic mountains, dense forests, fertile valleys, and high deserts, Oregon offers some of the most spectacular scenery in North America. The state's Pacific coastline stretches for hundreds of miles and features dramatic sea stacks, sandy beaches, rocky cliffs, picturesque lighthouses, and charming coastal towns. Public access laws ensure that nearly the entire coastline remains open for everyone to enjoy. Oregon is home to Crater Lake National Park, which contains the deepest lake in the U.S. Formed following the collapse of an ancient volcano thousands of years ago, it is famous for its incredibly deep blue water and remarkable clarity. The Cascade Mountain Range includes several prominent volcanoes, including Mount Hood, which is the highest peak in Oregon. The mountains provide year-round opportunities for skiing, hiking, climbing, camping, and wildlife observation. Oregon has become nationally recognized for environmental conservation and sustainable land management. Its extensive forests support important timber industries as well, while also providing a habitat for countless species of wildlife. Agriculture flourishes throughout the Willamette Valley, where farmers produce berries, hazelnuts, wine, grapes, vegetables, and numerous specialty crops. Oregon's wine industry has earned the international recognition for producing exceptional Pinot Noir and other premium wines. Pennsylvania occupies a unique place in American history as one of the original 13 colonies and the site of many of the nation's most important historical events. Known as the Keystone State, it served as a political, industrial, and cultural cornerstone for the U.S. since its founding. Perhaps no city has contributed more to the birth of the nation than Philadelphia. It was here that the Declaration of Independence was adopted in 1776, and where the United States Constitution was drafted and signed in 1787. Independence Hall and the nearby Liberty Bell remain among the country's most treasured historical landmarks, drawing millions of visitors each year who wish to experience the birthplace of American democracy. Pennsylvania also played a decisive role during the Civil War. The Battle of Gettysburg, fought in July of 1863, became one of the war's most significant turning points. Union victory halted General Robert E. Lee's invasion of the North and helped shift momentum toward the Union. Later that year, President Abraham Lincoln delivered the famous Gettysburg Address, one of the most influential speeches in American history, emphasizing equality, liberty, and national unity. Beyond that historical importance, Pennsylvania became one of the nation's industrial powerhouses during the 19th and 20th centuries. Rich deposits of coal, iron ore, and natural resources fueled the growth of the steel manufacturing, railroads, and his heavy industry. Pittsburgh emerged as one of the world's leading steel-producing cities, earning international recognition for its contribution to the American industrialization. Today, Pennsylvania maintains a diverse economy that includes healthcare, higher education, finance, manufacturing, technology, agriculture, and energy production. The state also produces mushrooms, dairy products, apples, corn, and numerous other agricultural commodities. The landscape there is diverse: rolling farmland, forested mountains, scenic rivers, Amish communities, the bustling metropolitan areas, There's all types of state parks for all types of activities that are used throughout the year. I got 2 more on this one. Rhode Island
Just so you know, we have under an hour left of recording time.
Okay. Rhode Island is the smallest state in the nation by land area, and it possesses remarkably rich history and an outsized influence on American development. Small size has never limited its contributions to commerce, maritime trade, religious freedom, education, and innovation. Founded by Roger Williams in 1636, Rhode Island became one of America's earliest havens for religious liberty. Williams established the colony on principles of freedom of conscience and separation of church and state, ideals that later influenced the drafting of the United States Constitution and Bill of Rights. Despite covering only about 1,200 square miles, take that into consideration, Rhode Island boasts an extensive Atlantic coastline featuring beautiful beaches, picturesque harbors, historic seaside villages, and world-renowned sailing communities. The city of Newport has long been famous for its magnificent Gilded Age mansions, many of which were built by some of America's wealthiest families during the late 19th century. These masterpieces continue to attract visitors from around the world. The state also played an important role during the American Industrial Revolution. Samuel Slater established one of America's first successful water-powered textile mills, and Paul Tuckett helping launch the nation's factory system and transforming American manufacturing. Maritime industries have long shaped Rhode Island's economy. Commercial fishing, shipbuilding, international trade, and sailing remain important aspects of the state's identity. Rhode Island is also home to several respected institutions of higher education, contributing research, innovation, and academic excellence despite the state's modest size. And then the last one for this section is South Carolina. It's a state where history, culture, natural beauty, and southern hospitality come together to create one of the nation's most fascinating destinations. From its Atlantic coastline to its rolling Piedmont hills and Blue Ridge Mountains, the state offers remarkable geographic diversity.
It is beautiful.
Charleston stands among America's best preserved historic cities. Its cobblestone streets, colorful historic homes, centuries-old churches, and waterfront views provide visitors with a glimpse into colonial America. Charleston's culinary scene, architecture, and cultural traditions consistently rank among the finest in the country. South Carolina played a pivotal role during the American Revolution and the Civil War. First shots of the Civil War were fired at Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor on April 12th of 1861, marking the beginning of one of the most defining conflicts in American history. Agriculture has long contributed to the state's economy. Cotton once dominated South Carolina's landscape, while modern agriculture now includes peaches, poultry, soybeans, corn, and numerous other specialty crops. Tourist has become one of their largest industries. Popular destinations include Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, Charleston, and the state's numerous state parks and historic plantations. There you can enjoy beaches, golf courses, fishing, boating, historic tours, and cultural festivals throughout the year. The rich cultural heritage reflects influences from Native American tribes, European settlers, African traditions, and Gullah Geechee communities whose customs, language, and music and cuisine continue to shape the state's identity. Manufacturing has also become increasingly important, with automotive, aerospace, and advanced manufacturing industries contributing significantly to the state's economy. Every time I see Gullah Geechee or whatever it is, all I can think is Gullah Island.
Yeah. No, I mean, that BMW has a plant in South Carolina, so. And it's, even where we stayed, like, Spartanburg is very industrial. There's a lot that is based out of that city alone.
I'm just here to tell y'all. When I wrote this, I was like, this is lengthy, but I was in it. I was in it to win it, and I was sucked in. I locked in. I was so excited about this. As we're going through this, if y'all made it to this point, God bless you, because I am bored reading this to you.
How many states do you have left?
Like 10.
Oh my gosh.
But I think they're most of them are kind of short.
Okay.
And I've kind of been paraphrasing, so.
Gotcha. Okay. Born on January 1st, 1745 in Paoli, Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. General Mad Anthony Wayne was promoted to brigadier general in the young Continental Army by the age of 32. It's practically elderly for those times.
Right.
He was a renowned fighter, and his men were as stubborn and fierce as their commander, which earned accolades at the battles of Germantown, Monmouth, Stony Point, and Brandywine, where his 4th PA Regiment had the highest casualties of the war. Wayne's men also suffered severely from a British surprise midnight bayonet attack, which was led by none other than Earl Grey, the namesake of the tea, whose men were also known for their unleashed brutality. The Paoli Massacre is what that incident was called.
If y'all heard that meow, it's because I purposely touched her tail and she didn't like it.
She bit me twice while you were talking this last time. After the war, Wayne had a short stint as a state politician, but was chosen by Washington to lead American forces west against First Nation people in Ohio. The Battle of Fallen Timbers on August 20th, 1794, resulted in the mass exodus of Native Americans from their ancestral homes. In 1796, while negotiating with the British over their outposts that were still lining the American frontier, Wayne, now aged 51, succumbed to what was later determined to be gout. He was buried
I didn't know you could die from that.
Yeah. He was buried at Fort Presque Isle in what is present-day Erie, Pennsylvania. 13 years later, in 1809, his son, Colonel Isaac Wayne, ordered that his father's remains be disinterred and brought to Delaware County, which was near Wayne's boyhood home in the southeast corner of the state. If his family had known what actions those tasked with bringing the general's body home would take, they would have likely left him resting in peace where he laid. I'm going to go ahead and warn you, this is a little graphic. Upon digging up the remains of General Wayne, it was discovered that he was remarkably well preserved, so much so that those tasked with retrieving him and returning him to his family, they decided not to haul such a, quote, ripe carcass nearly 400 miles, the stench of which would be too much for even the most rugged of wilderness soldiers. This would be a present-day 6.5-hour drive on the interstate. But in 1809, the dirt and military roads that weaved over the Allegheny Mountains would have taken about a month or more of tedious travel. They decided instead that they should boil the body and remove all of the remaining flesh. The bones were collected and placed inside a box that was to be carted east. The flesh was returned to the grave in Erie, where the present-day Wayne blockhouse stands. It is rumored that along the way, the box containing the general's bones had been jostled around and that several bones spilled out and were lost. When they reached Delaware County, they were certain that no one was going to dig through the bones to be certain that the skeleton was intact. What remained was buried in the family plot in Radnor, Pennsylvania at Old St. David's Church Cemetery. Legend contends that the ghostly image of the general wanders the trek that his bones had taken, likely with a sense that all is not whole. His spirit can be seen each year on January 1st trudging old Route 322. Encased in the icy breath of winter, a translucent orb is said to ramble along the vacant roads, with its head scanning the terrain, searching for lost bones and skeletal scraps on one of the longest nights of the year. It seems that Mad Anthony Wayne is likely doomed for all eternity to tread on this quest.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I like how our old friend Legend has appeared in this episode a couple times.
Of course.
All right, let's scan through this. South Dakota. internationally recognized for its dramatic landscape, iconic monuments, Native American heritage, and remarkable natural wonders. Although sparsely populated, so that's going to be another fun one,
Mm-hmm.
the state offers some of America's most unforgettable scenery and historical attractions. The most famous landmark is undoubtedly Mount Rushmore National Memorial, where the massive granite faces of Presidents George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln have been carved into the Black Hills. The monument symbolizes the nation's history, leadership, and expansion and attracts millions of visitors annually. Nearby, the Black Hills themselves offer spectacular forests, granite peaks, scenic highways, wildlife, and historic mining communities. The region is considered sacred by many Native American tribes, particularly the Lakota Sioux, whose cultural and historical connections to the land remain deeply significant. That's the only thing that gives me hope for South Dakota. I'm going to be real. Is the rich Native American history there.
Yeah.
South Dakota is also home to Badlands National Park, featuring striking rock formations, colorful canyons, towering buttes, fossil beds, and vast prairie ecosystems. Bison, bighorn sheep, prairie dogs, and numerous bird species inhabit this remarkable landscape. Agriculture remains central to their economy. Farmers and ranchers produce cattle, corn, soybeans, wheat, and sunflowers while supporting rural communities throughout the state. Tourism does play an equally important role. In addition to Mount Rushmore and Badlands National Park, you can also enjoy Custer State Park, the annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, scenic byways, caves, and historic western towns. Here's our favorite. Tennessee occupies a special place in American history and culture, stretching from the Appalachian Mountains in the east to the Mississippi River in the west. The volunteer state offers extraordinary diversity in both landscapes and traditions. Perhaps no state has contributed more to American music. Nashville, known as Music City, serves as the heart of country music, which is crazy because it wasn't even born here, and is home to the legendary Grand Ole Opry, the Country Music Hall of Fame, and countless recording studios where generations of artists have shaped modern music. Meanwhile, Memphis is celebrated as the birthplace of rock and roll and cornerstone of blues and soul music. Graceland, the former home of Elvis Presley, remains one of the most visited private homes in the U.S., attracting fans from around the world. The city is also closely associated with the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated at the Lorraine Motel in 1968. Today, which again, that when you're learning about Martin Luther King Jr., it seems like forever ago. My parents were alive.
Him and Anne Frank were born on the same day.
Jesus Christ. Today, the National Civil Rights that was hard. Today, the National Civil Rights Museum preserves this important chapter of American history and serves as a place of education and reflection. Tennessee's natural beauty is equally impressive, and yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
The Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is America's most visited national park, offers breathtaking mountain scenery, abundant wildlife, waterfalls, forests, and hundreds of miles of hiking trails. So if you're going to come to Tennessee, come for that and not to Nashville for the bullshit that is Broadway.
Woo.
Agriculture contributes significantly to Tennessee's economy through cattle, soybeans, cotton, corn, poultry, and tobacco production. Manufacturing, healthcare, logistics, and automotive industries also provide major sources of employment. Texas. Everything about Texas seems larger than life. As the second largest state in both area and population, Texas has developed a powerful identity built on independence, innovation, economic strength, and cultural diversity. Texas shares unique historical legacy, having once existed as an independent nation known as the Republic of Texas before joining the U.S. in 1845. The independent spirit continues to influence Texas culture and pride. The state's economy ranks among the largest in the world. Energy production has long been a defining industry, with Texas leading the nation in oil and natural gas production while simultaneously becoming a national leader in wind energy generation. Technology, aerospace, healthcare, agriculture, finance, manufacturing, and international trade all contribute significantly to its economic success. Texas is also home to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, where NASA has directed many of America's human spaceflight missions. Houston earned the famous nickname Space City because of its central role in U.S. space exploration. Agriculture remains enormous there. Texas leads the nation in cattle production and ranks among the top producers of cotton, hay, sheep, goats, and numerous other agricultural commodities. Ranching continues to be deeply woven in the state's identity. Its geography is remarkably diverse, including deserts, mountain forests, prairies, coastal plains, rivers, and more than 350 miles of Gulf Coast shoreline. I've also heard those beaches are nasty.
Mm-hmm.
This diversity supports abundant wildlife and countless outdoor recreational activity. It's equally famous for its rich cultural traditions. Influences from Mexican, Spanish, Native American, German, Czech, and Southern cultures have been combined to create a distinctive heritage reflected in the state's cuisine, music, festivals, architecture, and customs. Historic sites such as the Alamo commemorate Texas Revolution and remain endearing symbols of courage and determination. Cities including Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and Fort Worth each contribute their own unique character, from technology and business to music, art, history, and cowboy traditions. Utah. Utah is a state of extraordinary and natural beauty, renowned for its dramatic landscapes, unique geological formations, and deep cultural heritage. Few places in the U.S. offer such a stunning variety of scenery, from towering sandstone cliffs and vast desert valleys to snow-capped mountain ranges and crystal-clear alpine lakes. The state is perhaps best known for its remarkable collection of national parks, often referred to as the Mighty Five. These include the Arches National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, Canyonlands National Park, Capitol Reef National Park, and Zion National Park. Together, these parks attract millions of visitors annually who come to witness some of the most spectacular rock formations and landscapes on Earth. Arches National Park alone contains more than 2,000 natural sandstone arches, including the iconic Delicate Arch, one of the most recognizable natural landmarks in America. Bryce Canyon is famous for its colorful hoodoos, which are tall, thin rock spires that create an almost otherworldly landscape. Zion's towering canyon walls and scenic hiking trails have made it one of the most visited national parks in the country. Utah's history is closely tied to the settlement of the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, who arrived in Salt Lake Valley in 1847 under the leadership of Brigham Young. Their efforts transformed the religion into thriving communities despite the challenges of arid environment. The state is also a major destination for winter sports. The Wasatch Mountains receive abundant snowfall each year, making Utah famous for skiing, snowboarding, and other winter recreation. And let's just, I like the mention of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because today Utah is synonymous with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
Vermont is known for its picturesque landscapes, charming small towns, and strong traditions of independence and self-reliance. I do want to go to Vermont.
Yeah.
Located in the heart of New England, the Green Mountain State offers visitors rolling hills, dense forests, covered bridges, and some of the most beautiful fall foliage in the United States. The state derives its name from the French words vert and mont, meaning green mountain, a fitting description of the mountain range that runs through much of Vermont. These mountains provide opportunities for hiking, skiing, camping, fishing, and outdoor recreation throughout the year. It's perhaps one of the most famous for its production of maple syrup. The state consistently ranks among the nation's leading maple syrup producers, and the annual maple sugaring season remains one of Vermont's most cherished traditions. Visitors often tour sugar houses to observe the process of turning sap collected from maple trees into syrup. Agriculture continues to play an important role in Vermont's economy to this day. Dairy farming, cheese production, specialty foods, and small-scale agriculture contribute significantly to the state's rural character and economic vitality. It also holds a unique place in American history. Before joining the U.S. in 1791, it existed as an independent Republic of Vermont for 14 years. During that time, it maintained its own government and currency. The state's small town, historic villages, and commitment to preserving its natural beauty have helped it maintain a distinctive identity. Residents do take pride in environmental conservation, local traditions, and community involvement. Virginia, the mother of presidents, reflects extraordinary contribution to American leadership and history. More U.S. presidents were born in Virginia than any other state, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor, and Woodrow Wilson. As one of the original 13 colonies, it played a central role in the nation's founding. Jamestown, which was established in 1607, became the first permanent English settlement in North America. This historic site marks the beginning of England's long-lasting presence in the continent and remains one of the most important locations in American history. Virginia was also home to several of the founding fathers whose ideas helped shape the U.S. Thomas Jefferson authored the Declaration of Independence, while James Madison became known as the father of the Constitution for his significant contributions to the drafting of that foundational document. The state contains numerous historic landmarks, battlefield museums, and monuments associated with both the American Revolution and the Civil War. Important sites such as Colonial Williamsburg, Mount Vernon, Monticello, and the battlefields of Manassas, Fredericksburg, and Appomattox Courthouse provide insight to pivotal moments in the nation's development. Beyond that historical significance, there are landscapes that include Atlantic coastline, Chesapeake Bay, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah Valley, and fertile agricultural regions. Outdoor recreation opportunities are plenty. They also have large areas that are driven by technology, government services, defense, education, and healthcare. With its proximity to Washington, D.C., it's made it a center of innovation and economic growth. Washington. It's the northwestern corner of the continental U.S. and is celebrated for natural beauty, technological innovation, and diverse economy. There's a range of landscapes, including Pacific rugged coastlines, lush rainforests, fertile valleys, volcanic mountains, and expansive agricultural regions. One of the most recognizable landmarks is Mount Rainier, a towering stratovolcano that rises dramatically above the surrounding landscape. Visible from many parts of western Washington, the mountain serves as both a symbol of the state and centerpiece of Mount Rainier National Park. The state is also home to portions of the Olympic Peninsula where visitors can experience one of the few temperate rainforests in North America. It supports diverse plant and animal life and attracts outdoor enthusiasts around the world. Washington has become a global center for technology and innovation. Major companies headquartered in the states have transformed industries ranging from software and cloud computing to e-commerce and aerospace manufacturing. Seattle metropolitan area emerged as one of the nation's leading technology hubs. Agriculture is also a thing there. It leads the nation in apple production and is a major producer of cherries, pears, hops, wine grapes. I don't know where I got green, and numerous other crops. All right, moving on to West Virginia.
I have a fact about Washington.
Okay, hit it.
They're also one of the leaders of providing practice privileges to advanced practice nurses. They were one of the first states to offer full practice privileges without restrictions. So APRNs here in Tennessee have to have a supervising physician for their practicing career in Tennessee. Whereas Washington and a nurse practitioner can open their own practice.
Oh, nice.
And it helps for particularly rural communities in those states that doctors don't want to go live in and open clinics in because it's not financially lucrative for them.
West Virginia is a state defined by mountains, rivers, forests, and a strong spirit of independence. Known as the Mountain State, it is almost entirely covered by the Appalachian Mountains, creating some of the most rugged and scenic terrain of the eastern United States. And as we all know, which makes it freakishly creepy.
Yeah.
It's-
West Virginia.
yeah. The
Mountain
state's
Mama.
history is unique. During the Civil War, western counties of Virginia chose to separate from the Confederacy and remain loyal to the Union. As a result, West Virginia became a separate state in 1863, making it the only state formed by breaking away from Confederate state during the conflict. Outdoor recreation is central to West Virginia's identity. The state's mountains, rivers, and forests provide opportunities for all the things you would think: hiking, camping, fishing, all that. New River Gorge National Park and Preserve, one of the newest national parks in the U.S., has become a premier destination for outdoor adventure. Coal mining has historically played a major role in the state's economy and culture. For generations, miners worked in communities throughout the Appalachian region, contributing significantly to America's industrial development. And that history of coal mining remains deeply woven into the state's identity. It's also known for scenic beauty during autumn, which I can only imagine just from our small, portion of the Appalachians close to us. There's charming small towns, winding country roads, historic sites, and all that do contribute to the state's appeal. They do have a strong sense of resilience, hospitality, and community found throughout West Virginia, and it helps preserve its rich Appalachian heritage. Wisconsin earned a reputation as America's dairyland due to its longstanding leadership in dairy farming and cheese production. The state's fertile farmland, favorable climate, and agricultural traditions have made it one of the nation's most important producers of milk, cheese, butter, and other dairy products.
Bad state to be lactose intolerant.
Right. It produces hundreds of varieties of cheese and consistently ranks among the nation's leading dairy states. Cheese factories, dairy farms, and agricultural festivals celebrate this important aspect of the state's identity. The state's also known for its abundance of lakes and waterways. Thousands of lakes provide opportunities for boating, fishing, swimming, and other outdoor activities. The Great Lakes, particularly Lakes Michigan and Superior, play an important role in Wisconsin's economy,
Might have been
transportation.
Lake Superior. We saw them.
Wisconsin's forest and natural area attract hunters, hikers, campers, and nature enthusiasts. The state's changing seasons offer year-round recreational opportunities, from summer boating to winter snowmobiling and ice fishing. Historically, Wisconsin became a destination for immigrants from Germany, Scandinavia, and other parts of Europe. These cultural influences continue to shape the state's cuisine, festivals, and architectural as well as traditions. The state is also home to vibrant cities such as Milwaukee and Madison, which contribute to Wisconsin's cultural, educational, and economic vitality. Manufacturing, healthcare, agriculture, and technology all play important roles in the modern economy. Wyoming, the least populated state in the nation. So, can't wait for that. Is renowned for its wide open spaces, and I can attest to that. I've seen it. Rugged landscapes and iconic Western heritage. Despite its small population, Wyoming contains some of America's most extraordinary natural treasures and has played an important role in the history of conservation. The state is perhaps best known as home of Yellowstone National Park, the first national park in the world. Established in 1872, it protects a remarkable collection of geothermal features, including geysers, hot springs, mud pots, and fumaroles. The park's most famous attraction, Old Faithful, continues to draw visitors from around the globe with its predictable eruptions. It's also home to Grand Teton National Park, where dramatic mountain peaks rise sharply above the valleys, lakes, and forests. Together, Yellowstone and Grand Teton represent some of the most spectacular scenery found anywhere in North America. The state's history is closely connected to ranching, cattle drives, and the mythology of the American West. Cowboys, rodeos, and wide open rangelands remain important symbols of Wyoming's identity. The annual Cheyenne Frontier Days, which I have been, and it's found fantastic celebration, is one of the largest and most famous rodeo events in the world, which honestly, you hear that and you're thinking like this huge, grand, amazing thing. And it is, except for it just really just looks like a small town county fair.
Yeah.
But when you know the significance of it, it makes it feel so much larger. it holds an important, or Wyoming holds an important place in history of women's rights. In 1869, while still a territory, Wyoming became the first jurisdiction in the U.S. to grant women the right to vote. Pioneering achievement earned Wyoming the nickname the Equality State. Energy production, including oil, natural gas, coal, and wind power, contributes significantly to the state's economy. At the same time, tourism does remain a major industry due to the exceptional natural attractions. From towering mountains to geothermal wonders to historical ranches and abundant wildlife, Wyoming does offer a powerful reminder of the vast landscapes and adventurous spirit that have long defined the American West. And that, my friends, is the end of the 3-day escapade of me being so excited about this, and now I'm over it.
I got to thinking because you were talking about Mount Rushmore earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt. But I looked it up because I was like, I wonder how Teddy Roosevelt felt about that. And I was like, did he even know about it? Because I don't know that as a conservationist, he would have been down with that vibe. And no, it was commissioned after he died. And so that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm so glad to be done with that.
Yeah.
Follow us. Oh,
do your
nonprofit,
Canada.
Nature Conservancy Canada. The NCC is Canada's leading national land conservation organization, a private nonprofit organization. They partner with individuals, corporations, foundations, indigenous communities, and other nonprofit organizations and governments at all levels to protect the most important national treasures, the natural areas that sustain Canada's plants and wildlife. If you feel so obliged, you can find that link in our nether regions to donate to, as well as our socials, which are Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok,
YouTube.
Email us at wandersweird@gmail.com.
@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, bye.
Deuces.
Get out of here.